Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm going to tell you, so we're going to start this 2020 season off with the story of Wacky Rack. Now, we have a velvet hunt coming up the 28th, which is Friday. Today's the 25th. So here's the story of Wacky Rack. Summer of 2019, we started getting trail cam pictures of a buck that had a very odd rack. His left side was a perfect 4-point, but his right side looked like just a bunch of fingers. And I've got some velvet pictures I'll add here so you can see him. Okay, as you can tell in the picture, he's pretty messed up. Well, we all talked about it and really didn't know. Well, this deer's just 2.5, you know. He ain't got a whole lot of mass after he's out of velvet. Will he have mass? Will he not? You know how some deer you think's 160 and then they come out of velvet and they're a 120. But anyway, the other question was, you know, he really probably shouldn't be breeding. Was his rack caused by a car wreck or somebody shot him, you know, or was he just hurt? Was it bad genes? We didn't know. So as the velvet season rolled around, we were all still kind of, well, when you see him, make up your mind. See if he's limping, see if he's walking funny, see if anything's, you know, anything's off. Well, there was in particular deer running with him that I really wanted to shoot, a great big 8. And there was also a 10-pointer with him. Well, I went to the area that all the camera pictures was, snuck in before daylight, got in, sat there all day, didn't see nothing but a doe. Or sat there all morning, didn't see nothing but a doe. I come out, eased out, went and got something to eat, talked to the other hunters, the other guys on the lease. And I come back and got back in that stand, and sure enough, hour before daylight, or hour before dark, here they come, and Wacky Rack's leading. Now, I could tell that he wasn't gimped up from any accident. He had no scarring that I could tell. I put the binoculars on, zoomed in. He walked around out there eating. I got to see both sides, and it come to my conclusion, well, he's probably just an inferior or cull deer. And I know making a decision, you get a lot of backslash off people, like, well, you can't make a decision at 2.5. Well, you're right. We don't know what he's going to blow up into. But I knew he didn't bump the rack in velvet. It wouldn't have growed like it did. It was actually all growed the way, you know, it was supposed to grow. But anyway, you also can't tell at 2-year-old if he's going to be a cull buck. And then by that time, he's done bred 15 does and done spread his seed. So all that stuff runs through a hunter's mind. But in particular, in my mind, I thought, well, when he comes out of velvet, he might not look as big as he does now. So I elected to pass him during velvet. And then I seen him the Sunday of the last night of velvet. I seen him again, but I didn't have a shot. So fast forward to bow season of 2019, end of September. Went back in there 3 times in that area during the 30 days, 32 days of bow hunting, and never seen him again. Never seen him. And I kind of had thought, well, maybe I'd, you know, take him, maybe not. And so anyway, we moved into, nobody else seen him either. So we moved into muzzleloader. So I picked an area, it's a mile from where his core bow area was, his core summer area was. So I was sitting there in the shooting house. It's one of them perfect mornings to where it's not raining, and this place we go is foggy all the time if it rains. Luckily, it wasn't raining. And it was just one of them mornings you could see a long ways. It was a light wind. The wind, what wind I had was in my favor. I was in a shooting house. My scent was concealed. And to give you a picture of how this works, behind me was like a saddle field. So it rises up behind me and then goes over the side, and deer usually follow down the left side, which is shooting house is on. Okay, that's the back window. The front window is facing this huge clear cut we've cut bush hog lanes back and forth, and we can watch deer come from adjacent property through the bush hog lanes into the next lane, to prepare for a shot. This area is more suitable for rifle, but it works good for bow. Okay, to my left window, I have a strip of trees and a strip of trees. So I'm in a tree line. Okay, now that you got the idea how the land lays, I'm sitting there that morning, seen a ton of deer, young bucks, seen some does. We was not shooting does because of EHD, and we lost some does 2 years prior and just really hadn't seen the rebound yet. So we had all voted to not shooting any does. But I happened to turn and see something move out of the corner of my eye, and up towards the top of the saddle through the left window, I seen a coyote come out. And I don't know about y'all, but it don't matter what I'm hunting. If I'm hunting deer or turkey and a predator comes out, it becomes a predator hunt right then. I'm going to take him out if I can. So I opened the left window. He's kind of trotting towards me, and he'd stop every so often and listen. I got the gun up, got on him, cocked the hammer on my Triumph, and pulled the trigger. Well, I aimed for his left front shoulder. He was quartering to me. Well, when I hit him, of course, he went straight down, didn't make no noise, and didn't move. So I thought, well, he's good. So I turn around, look around. The deer that's in front of me, the younger deer, they didn't even run. You know, they went back to doing what they were doing, which I had the window shut on that side too. So as I'm reloading and getting my quick loads out, I see something moving. I look, and he's up there flopping around trying to get up. And I thought, man, I put it dead on his shoulder. That 50 caliber, I should have just blew him away. So I reloaded, and I'm just about to put my primer in. I've got the gun kicked down, pulled the old primer out, put the primer in. I look up, and Whacky Rack is standing over this coyote looking at him. So I had shot the coyote coming quartering to, so now I have Whacky Rack standing, which is a lot bigger target, standing right over that coyote, watching it. Well, as I look at him and I see how good his his crazy side's heavy at the bottom. I look at his left side and he picks his head up and it's way outside his ears. And I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and take him. You know, there is nothing of this deer's body shows that it's been hurt before. I can't see no scarring from shooting. I've got my eyes on him several times. I put my binoculars on him and I made a decision to shoot him. Well, I had the window still up and the window he was in. I got me a brace, and as he walked around the coyote, he gave me a perfect quartering shot. I pulled off the shoulder and he was starting to quarter away. And of course I stopped him, pulled the trigger, the deer hit the ground, comes back up, takes off running down the end of the food plot and jumps into the woods. And I could see that right leg was just a flopping. And of course, to my amazement, I'm sitting there thinking, how? I had that right on behind his leg, far enough behind his leg, I could have caught at least one lung. How did I hit him that far in the front? So I give him an hour and I get down, and I run a process shop in the fall, and I had somebody dropping a deer off. Well, my lease is 4 miles down the road, so I got on the UTV, come down here, and told him the story. We put his deer up. And he was like, well, let's go back and look for blood. So it's been 2 hours. So we go back, we go down there, and we start walking, and we find blood. Very faint, and most of it was shiny blood. And, you know, as y'all know, you get real shiny wet blood, it's probably tissue. It's not it didn't have no bubbles in it. There wasn't no deep, you know, artery type blood. Well, it was just a speck here and a speck there. We followed deer trails. We went everywhere. We'd find a spot of blood here, maybe tracked him 100, 200 yards. So I left a marker. We backed out. I come back here. He got in his car and left. Well, I went and shot my muzzleloader, and come to find out, my muzzleloader evidently been bumped, and my muzzleloader was 5 inches to the right, shooting 5 inches to the right. Oh, and to back up to the coyote, when I went up there, he wasn't dead. I had to shoot him again at point blank range to kill him. So I got my guns squared back up, and we started rolling around the afternoon hunt, and my cousin Harley and my dad, which you'll see them this season in deer 2020 season, and they's like, let's go back after him. So me, Harley, my dad, my wife Kim, and my stepdaughter Sarah went back down there, and we went to Last Blood and kind of split up. Well, here's a tip for anybody that does this, and me being 47 years old and hunted all my life, I knew better. Every single person that went with me that was going to be pushing or looking ahead, they needed to have their muzzleloader on them. Just me. I was the only one had it on. So Harley goes into this thicket around some old cars. My dad's a little bit ahead of me. I'm more up the hill. Well, my dad says he found blood, so I go down the hill. Well, by the time I get in behind my dad and I'm looking and he's walking forward, I hear Harley holler, here he is. He's laying over here in his bed. And then he busts out, about runs over my dad and runs up the hill. Well, me pulling my gun around, you know, I'd still had to cock it, but I had stuck the primer in when I heard him say that he was in the thicket because I was going to walk around and shoot the deer. He comes flying out by my dad. I can't shoot. I can't cock the hammer, and I watch the deer run over the hill. Right legs just a flopping around everywhere. We all come to the agreement that pretty much this deer's probably going to die a slow death. And it just gives you that gut-wrenching feeling of, you know, it's hard to explain. Any hunter that's done it or lost a deer or gut shot a deer or made a mistake, and it happens. There's people think they're perfect. Nobody's perfect. You hunt long enough, it's going to happen. So it really stuck with me that this deer might, you know, pass away, get eaten by coyotes alive or whatever. So I give it a couple days. Me and Sarah went back down and looked. Me and Harley went back down and looked, and we never found blood, never found a bloody bed. We searched the whole place over, so we give up on him and come out and waited to see if maybe we'd see, you know, buzzards or something. Never happened. Well, I wrote it off, hunted the rest of the season, pretty much figured he was dead. Never did see no signs of him, nothing on trail camera. He wasn't popping up in his home area. He wasn't popping up, you know, in his summer core area, wasn't popping up on the neighbor's property. Nobody was seeing this deer. So I pretty much figured, well, you know, he's gone. That's one that you lost, you gimped up and lost. And then, as lo and behold, it would have it, as strong as these deer are, it's just crazy. I think it was March 8th. It was the second week of March. And if you follow Piney Outdoors on Facebook, you'll see we're driving in the core area where he lives, and Sarah yells, stop! And I stop, and she runs over, and she has both matching sides to Wacky Rack. She has the goofed up side and the other side. Well, that right there told me that deer made it 3 months or 2.5 months since I shot him. I wonder if I'll get a picture of him next year. Well, this year, I wonder if we get in during summer. So this summer, sure enough, we started getting pictures of a deer that had an odd scar on his side, as you'll see in the picture next. As you seen in the video, he had that scar up his right side, or in the pictures, you seen he's had that scar up his right side. I've got hundreds of pictures of this deer this summer. This deer lived, and he is 3.5-year-old this year, and he's running with a big buck that I call Chains, and I'll have another story on him, or might even do one on him prelude to the 2020 season, because I'm going after Chains this Friday. But Wacky Rack, he growed, it affected his left side, which was and that's usually typical with deer. If you shoot them on their right side, their left side, or if they're damaged on the right side from car accident or anything, their left side shows it. Well, Harry had a screwed up right side, so this year now he's got a messed up left side. But on that left side, at the very tip, we started seeing a fork, which I thought was going to be a crab claw. No, it dropped. So he has a small drop tine on his left side, as I'll put multiple pictures here for you to look at. But this deer is 3.5 years old for sure. I still don't know what we're going to do about it. More than likely, one of us will take him if one of the neighbors don't take him. But he is definitely a unique buck. If for some reason we didn't shoot him, he made it another year, there's no telling how goofy it'd be. But then you go back to what we thought last year, you know, do we want him spreading the genes? So this is the 25th. Hopefully the next video you see will start the Deer 2020 series, and hopefully we'll have some more pictures, video, and possibly a kill of him, and then we'll look at the anatomy where the bullet, because I don't think the bullet exited. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just the story of a buck we call Wacky Rack. And until next time, God bless. See you.